Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling, well, just kind of confused? Or maybe you started doubting your own memory? Or felt you were being pushed into something you didn't really want to do? If any of that sounds familiar, you've probably brushed up against the powerful and often invisible forces of dark psychology. Today, we're going to pull back that curtain and unmask the techniques people use to influence you every single day.
And just so we're clear, this isn't about simple gut feelings or bad vibes. What we're diving into is grounded in a real established field of study, dark psychology. It's all about understanding the more calculating, more predatory side of human nature. We're basically looking at the actual playbook for manipulation.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll get a clear definition of what dark psychology actually is. Then, we'll peek inside the mind of a manipulator. After that, we'll uncover their tactics, show you the red flags to look for, and finally, and this is the most important part, we'll arm you with a personal defense strategy.
So let's just start with a really direct question, right? Are you being influenced without even realizing it? The honest answer for pretty much all of us is yes. The real trick is to understand how it's happening, because that's the first step to taking back control. Okay, let's dive into the fundamentals. What is dark psychology, really? And what makes it so different from the kind of psychology we usually hear about? Well, this right here is the fundamental difference, and it all boils down to one thing: intent. Think about it like this. Normal psychology wants to understand people, maybe to help or heal them. Dark psychology takes those exact same principles about how our brains work and it weaponizes them. The goal is no longer understanding. The goal is pure control.
At its very core, dark psychology is the study of human predation. Yeah, it's a strong word, but it's accurate. It's all built on the idea that people can and do prey on others. And it breaks down the exact tactics they use, everything from subtle persuasion all the way to outright coercion, to get what they want, always at your expense.
So who are these people doing the manipulating? This isn't just random bad behavior. It often comes from a very specific and toxic cocktail of personality traits. It's known as the dark triad. The dark triad. It's a term psychologists use to talk about three really negative personality traits that, while distinct, often show up together. And when you see these traits in one person, that's a huge warning sign.
So let's break this down. First up, you've got narcissism. We're talking about a bottomless pit of need for admiration and this massive sense of entitlement. Second, there's Machiavellianism. These are the master manipulators who see other people as just pawns in their game. The ends always justify the means for them. And third, you have psychopathy, which is defined by this chilling lack of empathy and remorse. The crucial thing to get here is that someone high in these traits doesn't see you as a person. They see you as an object, a tool to be used.
Okay, so we've looked at the mindset. Now let's get into the how. It's one thing to know who these people are, but recognizing the specific techniques they're using out there in the real world, well, that's the key to protecting yourself. And first up is one of the most damaging and frankly twisted tactics out there: gaslighting. The entire goal of gaslighting is to make you feel like you are losing your mind. It's a slow burn designed to completely chip away at your confidence in your own memory and your own perception of reality. It makes you totally dependent on the manipulator.
It often starts with something that seems small, like a simple denial. They'll look you dead in the eye and insist that something you clearly saw or heard, that just didn't happen.
Then, they'll escalate it by turning it back on you, attacking your perception directly. They'll say, "You imagined."
And finally, they go for the knockout punch, a direct assault on your sanity. Are you crazy? And when you hear this over and over, that's the point, isn't it? They want you to start believing it. That's the real endgame of gaslighting.
All right, another really powerful tool in the arsenal is something called Neuro-Linguistic Programming, or NLP. It basically focuses on the link between how we think, the language we use, and how we behave. Now, in the right hands, like in therapy, it can be a force for good, but in the wrong hands, it becomes this incredibly subtle but effective form of mind control.
And don't think for a second this is some obscure, hidden technique. The principles of NLP are absolutely everywhere. They're in political speeches to build trust. They're all over advertising to make you want something. And they're definitely used in high-stakes business deals to get an advantage. It's just a part of our modern world.
So now that you know the mindset and a couple of the major tactics, let's zoom in on the specific warning signs, the red flags you might actually see in your day-to-day life. This is all about sharpening your awareness. So be on the lookout for these behaviors. You've got constant guilt tripping, making you feel responsible for their feelings. There's moving the goalposts, where no matter what you do, it's just never good enough. Projection, that's when they accuse you of doing the exact things they're guilty of. Triangulation, they'll bring a third person into your conflict to make you feel isolated. And of course the classic, always playing the victim to get out of taking any blame.
So here's the most important takeaway from all this. Self-awareness is your shield. The second you can put a name to the tactic being used against you, the moment you can think, oh, that's gaslighting, or wow, they're moving the goalposts again, it starts to lose its power over you. You're not in the dark anymore.
And that brings us to our final and honestly most critical section, your personal defense. Let's talk about the concrete, practical steps you can take to reclaim and hold on to control in your own life.
Okay, here are 4 actionable steps you can start using today. Number 1, trust your intuition. Your gut feeling is data. If a situation feels off, it probably is. 2, set firm boundaries. Learn to say no clearly and without feeling the need to apologize for it. 3, ask analytical questions. Things like, does that seem reasonable to you? Can force them to confront their own twisted logic. And 4, apply consequences. Because a boundary without a consequence is really just a suggestion.
And I really want you to remember this. The real power shift happens in that moment of recognition. The instant you see the game for what it is, that's the beginning of you getting your freedom back. It's the point where you stop being a piece in their game and you start becoming a player in your own.
So, I'll leave you with this one question to think about. Now that you know the language and the tactics of dark psychology, where are you going to see them first? In an ad on TV? A news headline? Or maybe a little closer to home? Keep your eyes open.